Welcome back to the State Farm Analyst Desk, where it's RNG who take the second matchup of the day over EG. We're going to kick things off in the draft where EG see, EG do. EG looks to copy G2. Diana and Yasuo coming out. I had high hopes, I'll be honest, Chronicler. When I saw that, I was like, here it is. This is how it happens. And yet, RNG still managed to pull it out.
You primed me for the rhyme, and it was sublime. Thank you very much,
Oh,
Josh.
yes! Pressure's on for Emily now, next time she speaks.
There were a lot of similarities. And as we talked about at the top of the day, the meta that we've seen thus far, we expected a change in Rumble stage. Diana Yasuo thus far has been extremely high prio. But there's also, and we saw that in the game actually become somewhat of an issue, the G2 draft was very cohesive, straight 5v5. And I think with the Gwen and with the bot side as well, there was a little bit more leeway in how it played out and not leeway in a good way.
And by the same token, RNG also came to the table with different tools, Emily, to dismantle this composition.
Yeah, and I mean, the big difference maker here, there are two actually. One is the bot lane of Ezreal Braum. I actually still liked EG's composition better. However, when you were looking at the way these team fights played out, Ming's Braum really took center stage. And additionally, up in the top lane, BeanJ GP kind of ended up taking over a lot of these fights, just offered like so much AoE damage for when EG was trying to set up to get the Diana Yasuo in. And in a lot of the way that these fights went, it was still RNG actually initiating a lot of it. And so in a reactive situation, the Diana Yasuo still doesn't always look as strong.
This whole game had interesting parallels to game one and also some interesting differences, right? Once again, we kind of found a 5K gold lead for one team around the same point in the game. We had the same Rift Herald for turret play trade early in the game, and yet the result went the other way this time around. I think in a number of ways, Chronicler, it's because of where the money went.
One might think that this is what we're focused. This is just the bait. This is just a distraction. As look at the minimap. See that? See that gangplank? Yeah, he's having a great time.
He's vibing.
As everyone on top side is just fine. Look at this game.
That's an inner turn. That's an inner turn, by the way. 12 minutes into the game, this GP is just free farming, not only building a greater CS advantage over the Gwen, but also finding all of that turret gold for himself. Bin would become an absolute terror throughout this game.
One thing I do want to call out though is like one thing, a small thing for EG, I did like their Baron take. I thought it was really smart. They ended up seeing that Wei is recalling on a ward, so they're like, okay, you know what? Like, this is one of our windows back into the game. And even when they lose the ensuing fight, kind of on the back half of this, I still really like this play, especially for the position in the game where they were at. Like, I thought it was a very smart response.
Yeah, Zoe actually managed this backstage. Like, this is just after EG's hit all their 2-item power spikes. So they're as good as they're gonna get. The game thus far has been going pretty abysmal. So them actually taking the opportunity here is, again, another sign for me that, like, EG, they're slowly getting there. I don't know if it'll be on time. I don't know if it'll be enough to make a big splash in Rumble stage. But it is still a positive development.
Yeah, I mean, I love it, right? Not only recognizing, based on vision, that they have that opportunity, but also with the item spikes that they're in a position to actually take that Baron. Yes, a couple people die on the back end, but it would essentially keep them alive for at least a period of time. I think, actually, Emily, where I want to call out, and actually I think was a good fight for EG in terms of the look, is 25 minutes into the game, mid lane, EG once again thinks they find their moment to take RNG to task, and unfortunately for them, the active items come up huge on the side of RNG. You said backstage, the LPL region uses stopwatches better than anyone else.
Yeah, they would have gotten away with it, right? If it hadn't been for
pesky
several stopwatches here. The other thing I do want to call out in this fight is I believe this is at the point where RNG are primed in their Drake stacking, and another big important thing in this game was the Mountain Drake role, right? So because RNG are actually, pretty much all teams at this tournament are willing to punt early Drakes for other map control, recognizing that they can funnel gold into their carries through turret plates, etc. But RNG, and I know Raz did a segment on this during the group stage, are the most Drake-focused team if you look at the playoff first Drake take rates across all of the teams in this Rumble stage. So the Drake stacking actually really ended up working in their favor. I think you have this Ezreal that's protected by the Braum against the Jhin plus Mountain Drake.
It was a
plus
bad time.
stopwatches.
Yeah. It was a really
like,
bad time.
They were doing everything they could. It was a great setup, and it still just oof, did not go their way.
Exacerbated by the fact that EG, at least in our home region, is almost famous for ignoring the Drake, right? Yes, they took a few more throughout their playoff run, but very much willing to give that up.
I ripped into them a bit for some of those games.
Yeah, exactly. And it plays into their demise here in their first stage, or first game rather, out in the Rumble stage. RNG going to pick that one up, remain undefeated as they move one step closer to defending their MSI title. We'll continue to track their dominance throughout the Rumble stage. From here, though, we're going to go ahead and turn our attention to game number 3 of the day. It's Sports PSG Talon versus the Saigon Buffaloes. This one's coming up in Emily. It's a Southeast Asian rivalry that might be stronger than people might expect.
Yeah, so this is an old grudge match from, if people remember, all the way back to GPL prior to the LMS and now PCS splitting off, and prior to Vietnam getting the VCS. So, and I really want to go back to 2018, where Phongvu Buffalo actually were one of the reasons why Flash Wolves did not get out of their group. So this is that group right there, Group A at the 2018 World Championship, actually also at Bexco, and a Freak of Freaks and G2 getting through. Phongvu kind of sniped Flash Wolves, kept them from moving on, and that's where the trajectory of these two regions going up against each other really started to turn, right? Because I already talked about how Vietnam was rising through starting in 2017 with Gigabyte Marines, now GAM, and then Phongvu at this World, and you kind of saw the LMS slowly starting to stagnate as their talent was siphoned off into LPL. And VCS rising. I mean, their server, like, people forget that their server is absolutely massive. Their player base is massive. And these teams themselves are so unique, I think, in the way that they approach the game. They're incredibly aggressive team fighting. And the picks that they like to slot in very random and not necessarily what I would think of as you know, flexing the Kalista mid, for example. Which
was that great, Emily? Did you like it?
But it was interesting.
It was interesting.
And they won. So, you know, the results.
There you go. Yeah, results-oriented here is what we are. Yeah, from memory, the Vietnamese region has the second largest player base of all of the servers out there. Of course, only behind the LPL. But yes, LMS historically getting the better of the VCS, but of course, a cross-region matchup that everybody is excited for. Let's talk about some of the players. I want to talk about Shogun, who you talked about at the beginning of the day, particularly when it came to that Trist pick, but Shogun along with Taki here.
Oh, of course, they got to show this again. Yeah. We've seen this clip, guys. They already lost today. Can we take it easy, please? Very fragile. Shogun and Taki are, to me, also the lane I'm mainly going to be looking towards in between these two. Because as much as we already talked about Bey and Juhan being somewhat of a weakness, I also don't think that the Buffalo's strength is mid-jungle. They've been serviceable, but in the grand scheme of things, it's that explosiveness that I think is going to be the biggest difference maker for Saigon Buffalo.
From here, with only a minute to go till Champions Select, as we watch out the rest of these highlights here, Emily, I do want to talk about kind of the expectation of qualifying into the knockout stage. 6 teams, 4 go through. I think everyone's agreed that we expect T1, G2, RNG to make it through, which leaves 1 spot for the remaining 3 teams in EG, as well as the 2 that are about to take to the stage, which puts that much more pressure on these matchups specifically. You have to beat the teams that you want to knock out yourself to snag that expected 4th slot.
Yeah, so this is really important for both PSG and Saigon, right? Because it really sets the tone for what they're going to look like going on, whether they're going to be contesting EG, who we just saw lose to RNG. So I think we have a very obvious, even with the T1 loss, we have a very obvious top 3 teams that we're expecting to go through in T1, RNG, and G2. And now it's like, okay, this 4th spot's up for grabs, and this is going to set the tone for both of these teams. Both
teams want to make their way to the knockout stage, and it starts right here with a win in game number 3 of the day. We're back over to Kobe and Atlas for the call.
Thank you so much, Dash.
I love how they wave to us every time.
Yeah, and I just completely left them hanging with the wave, so I'll just keep waving for a
rude.
little bit longer. Yeah, no, I apologize. I was just very excited to try and keep my composure for what could be the bloodiest game that we've had so far. That's at least our expectation, and I'm very much hoping that it delivers, if I can actually get my words out correctly. Hanabi's going to be back on the roster once again here for PSG Talon, and I welcome him back with open arms. I've always been a Hanabi fan, you know, for quite some years. It was, what, 2017 that he debuted? Yeah. And I've just always enjoyed watching him play. Juhan and Bay is definitely going to be a rough spot here for this team, but it's been Bay that's been providing a lot of the damage for this PSG team. And some could say unfortunately, but he has been, in the games that they've won, actually quite pivotal here for PSG.
True. And it's going to be put to the test this game. All right, we're not getting another Twisted Fate versus Diana Yasuo, though. It is off the table, Atlas. No longer will we continue this trend here in the Rumble stage of MSI. So also the Galio falling.
The Galio ban is very interesting.
It's a very good ban, in my opinion. You know, getting that off of a team that does like to play so aggressively, having the extra ultimate on your back again, basically fostering a lot of that cross-map skirmish style gameplay. So good bans there, I think, from PSG. Meanwhile, I want to see what they invest their first pick in here, because
Ahri?
A lot has been open on the bottom side of the map, expecting kind of AD carry support focus here. Only jungle that really gets banned out nowadays is Wukong. Then nobody, honestly, below that tier hasn't really felt like they cared that much. There you go. You get your Ahri, the other end of the LeBlanc Ahri usual bans being left up. But I feel like Saigon Buffalo must have a plan for it, because they very clearly, you know, leave it up on purpose.
Yeah, and also Bay hasn't exactly had the greatest of games on the Ahri either.
And the common plans into Ahri to go over are usually Vex is a really good counter because of the dashes and the one-shot burst potential. Is probably the most common counter pick into it. So we'll see if Froggy picks that one up. Also, I love seeing Vex in compositions where you're looking for resets and you're looking for these long engages. So Vex can get resets with Tristana. I'm just hoping.
Then they pick Viego as well. Maybe we can just have 5 resets. That would be fun.
The fight just explodes and reset after reset after reset. So then everybody in the game is buying stopwatches and Zonias, and you like sell your broken stopwatch.
Constantly.
Volibear can't reset.
Yeah, dang it. They could have. Well, at least there's going to be 2 resets on the side of PSG, so we're okay there. Ahri picked up a reset, so now we're fine.
We're going to balance them out here. We've got Ahri and Viego reset.
Hovers baited yet again. But Gwen is, of course, very powerful at the moment. Hanabi's going to go towards that one once again. Potentially. Yeah. And it is going to be locked in.
You're talking about Hanabi and kind of his long legacy. You know, this guy's been playing for so long. Came in as actually a Yasuo.
And he was like 16 when he debuted as well, so he's actually still pretty young, even all these years later.
Came in as a Yasuo one-trick, but then diversified very quickly.
Oh, Yasuo's Z2 trick.
Yes, exactly. And played whatever the team needs. And it turns out that most teams need Gwen nowadays.
Yeah.
Let's go through, though. They still get the Viego, so they still have multiple possibilities for their own resets there. I do, though, expect Saigon, with how they've been playing, to be the team with more early pressure and getting early leads. They opt for the Veigar version instead of the Vex. I think Vex probably works better in this lineup, but Veigar also has been used into the Ahri. It though is not a strong lane into Ahri. Your cage range is pretty good with Ahri, because Ahri is one of the shorter range control mages. So if you're good with the cages, then you know you can have good counters and good setup there. But is not as effective offensively, especially early on, as the Vex is. And you know, Veigar obviously wanted to stack up his own AP. So
yeah, you can also get a little bit trolled as well if Gwen is unable to be damaged when you throw out the ultimate, and that can feel really bad. Yes. Well, we are going to have the Ezreal banned away here, as the Akali going to be the answering ban. Of course, in Korea, we really enjoyed the Akali into Gwen matchup back in the day.
That is one of the common uses of it. So Gwen protection ban there.
Yep.
Doesn't like the ninjas.
Maybe a Jax to come in next, because that has been the more popular counter pick into the Gwen thus far.
Yeah. Should probably just round it out with a double defense. On the mean side, though, for Saigon, I was wondering what they would actually even be worried about with the Tristana lane on bottom side. Renata is one of the most annoying things to deal with as a Leona or Nautilus. And so if you're picking Tristana, you want a Nautilus, you want a Leona, you want an engaged champ to go for the all-in. So that protection ban for bottom lane, I think, is even more important than the Ezreal ban. Ezreal, obviously, if you want to go for all-ins on bottom lane, then you don't want an arcane shifting Ezreal to get away from you. But also, the support so meaningful. Like Renata, when she was introduced, people were a little bit worried. They're like, is she really going to be that effective on bottom side? But with so many melee champs engaging on you, her ult is actually really effective. She does super well into lots of melee and hard engage, but is also way more tanky than any of the enchanters. So not as vulnerable to those all-ins. So good protection band there as well.
And another Vladimir to come in as well. That is the pick into the Gwen this time around.
So much freaking AP though for Saigon. So Tristana is gonna have to do well. If your Tristana lane flops,
Tristana Pike, add that extra AD damage, Kobe. What do you reckon?
There we go. I love that. I love that. It does mean, your Merc Treads are gonna be at a premium here because the magic resist and the tenacity are both so good. And Veigar usually really does not like magic damage heavy teams because of the effectiveness of CC. Him and Volibear both kind of get destroyed by Merc Treads, so we shall see.
Could come in here potentially. The Lovers duo is on the table for PSG if they'd like it, but certainly some other options as well if they'd like to go there for Kaiwing.
And Xayah is just the predominant good counter-engage AD carry. He's always the best against dives because of the ultimate. So if you have a good, well-timed ultimate there, effective against diving Vladimir, Tristana popping in as well. And we do get our Lovers duo. I noticed that they brought us statues out here in the Caster's Nest, and they gave me Rakan.
Yeah,
but they did not give you Xayah.
That's true.
I feel like that's a slight to me because, if it was Xayah Rakan
but
up
Rakan
here,
Yasuo is a decent bot lane as well.
Yeah, exactly. But it's not as equal. I feel like the Rakan Xayah is like an equal partnership.
And
Rakan Yasuo is like, I'm just your knock-up peon, basically. I'm just here to serve you, Atlas.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas I'm like buffing you. I'm giving you extra range. You can battle dance better. Look, you've just been what is it? You've had your feathers clipped. So sad.
It's
but the
okay.
Rell's going to come in.
When you call, I will answer, Atlas.
Thank you so much. Well, we've got bears and horses and vampires. Oh my, on the side of Saigon Buffalo. I really do like it. You were mentioning the need for some engage.
Yeah.
Rell's pretty good at that. Crashing down, storming some magnets, but there is triple untargetability for PSG. So if they can play it well and use their buttons effectively, the counter engage is actually quite nice.
I actually love that Rell is coming back into the game because it's one of those engage supports that actually has cool combos and actually has cool animation cancels with the knockups and throwbacks. So really excited to see about the timings of those burstings because this was my favorite game that Saigon Buffalo played was when they insta-lock versus T1 the Tristana Nautilus and then duo killed the best bottom lane in the world right on the international stage. So super excited for Taki and Shogun. See what they can accomplish this time around with this game because their mid lane's not going to be as exciting. That one will be scaling up. So we're going to be looking towards bottom lane for fireworks.
And it's against Unified and Kaiwing as well. The longest standing members on this PSG roster. These two players have been playing for quite some time. Of course, Unified having some issues making it to tournaments in the past, but he's here this time to play in Busan. And let's do it. Let's hop onto the Rift here for PSG taking on Saigon Buffalo for our third game of the day. PSG had a rougher time in the group stage, sort of feeling like they barely pulled their way out of their group. Saigon Buffalo, though, 4-2, very respectable when it comes to their scoreline. The VCS is here to play this time around. Let's see whether they can keep it up.
Yeah, it's so nice to finally have the VCS back.
Yeah, right.
We had 2 years without them after they had built so much hype. That was literally the most fun emerging region that we had to watch so many of their games.
I remember being so sad because I was an OCE boy, back in the day, and we would lose. To the Southeast Asian teams all the time.
Everybody would lose to Vietnam, G2 themselves went 0-2 versus them back in 2019 at that MSI. And hey, we dropped a bunch of games with multiple teams to Vietnam. And this isn't even their first place team, as has been stated multiple times. GAM obviously opting not to come here to go to the Southeast Asia Games instead, which they are playing currently. But Buffalo, in their own right, have also excited. So let's see about it this time. Ward here early on the red buff for PSG is important. Again, Volibear critical in early gameplay. So effective at just running into lanes and getting off pressure ganks. So incredibly threatening early on, even in 1v1s with enemy jungler. Like, it gives you so many options. If your lanes are winning, you get to go invade the jungler, and you get to go force one-on-ones there, and you get jungle camp advantage. But if your lanes are setting up opportunities for ganks as well.
This is exactly what we wanted. Another crash down to come in. Decent little knock up there onto Shogun, who's now going to have to create some space. Taki now a little bit too far forward, walks into this brush with a ward, so will go to sub 200 health.
It's actually been so funny watching the transition from Aftershock to Glacial Augment, which has been predominant for quite a long time now for all these engaged supports. But so many of the supports that are used to, like, oh yeah, we go for the early trade, and then I run out during my Aftershock. Now it's like, oh, I take so much more damage with Glacial Augment only reducing damage to your teammates. Doesn't give you the protection.
Did you also
so
have
great
it
for later.
Did you have it in the LCS where all of the supports transitioned and then would just instantly die over and over again? Yeah,
Take
we
a
had
while
that
to
moment
get used
as well.
to. Yeah. It's such a good rune though, Glacial, with the AoE slow and helping out protecting your teammates, especially in skirmishes. So definitely understandable transition, but requires a little bit of an adaptation. And all summoner spells were saved on that bottom lane trade, so nobody really panicked in it.
It wasn't the real battle. We haven't had the real battle just yet. Shout out to Wolf, of course. He was the one that created the real battle here in the LCK. As BeanJ now getting through his jungle, looking for some shellfish towards the bottom side of the map. Thankfully, we had a lot of responses to our Chicken of the Sea, which is apparently a tuna brand. When canned tuna was the most accessible food
I got 3
many years
answers.
ago.
Well, one was the brand. One was...
Yeah, what was Travis's one? He had a very weird...
multiple people were copy-pasting different wikis.
Yeah, right.
So one was the brand. One was the, during wartime, the canned tuna was so bland it looked like it. And then the other one was just fishermen to decide that it had the same similar taste as well as color, and just kind of applied it there. Well, I'm assuming that the brand was built off of that one that came from the fisherman. But the coolest one was the Anchorman reference that also, in addition to scuttle crabs being the chicken of the river, bats are the chicken of caves.
Yeah, they are the chicken of caves. That's
that one won't be useful to us. We haven't added caves yet.
That sounds like an Ace Ventura reference as well. I love it.
But we can probably fit it into the alcove gameplay if a bat champion is added.
Ooh. Love alcove gaming. It's one of my favorite forms of gaming, to be perfectly honest. Juhan is going to look for BeanJ here towards the top side. Don't know whether he necessarily wins the fight, but BeanJ is a little bit distracted with some little pebbles here towards the top side.
He's got no spells now, so he's got to run to the other side of Krugs.
Yeah. Juhan just being a little bit aggressive. You can see Hasmed's going to move on over. Dash is now on cooldown, though, as the flash has to be used. Juhan a little bit overly aggressive here towards the top side of the map, as Hanabi was at least given some space to farm.
Yeah, that's some classic jungle tunnel right there, where you're like, I'm going for the invade, I'm winning my 1v1 slightly, I get a little Krug, and I have to burn my flash for
Well, he's going to do it again, is what we're looking at here.
Well, he's got the support roam timer in his favor. That's why he's backing it up here. As you can see, Kaiwing, the ultimate jungle presence, the jungle outplay.
Ooh, good. Charm's going to come in. The grand entrance is going to be there, and you can't exit. There is a cage to block you, and First Blood goes to Bay on his Ahri.
We get another instance of jungle tunnel. Let's use this opportunity, Atlas, to put out a PSA.
Okay, please
This was a jungle tunnel response. It's the rarely seen reaction to an initiation from enemy jungle where they start to steal away camps. Even a small Krug, Atlas, can trigger this response. And you'll see Volibear in a situation where they know they are down the support roam timer. He goes back in to smite the big chicken here. So this is death by chicken greed. Look at BeanJ. He's hovering around. He wants that smite. He gets the smite off, but he gets charmed up, and Kaiwing is there for the follow-up, so he dies to another deadly, deadly case of jungler tunnel.
Exactly. It's very sad to see, benefits from the jungle tunnel and then immediately falls prey to the tunnel himself. You hate to see it.
But
However, game's not over yet.
He got the bigger of the jungle camps. That was big chicken.
True. That was big chicken.
Yeah.
That is big chicken. That is certainly good. It's not just the popcorns. No. That's the proper one. So BeanJ now full of chicken, going to move into the river, exit the river immediately. There was a guy with a sword looking to take some river chicken, as we've dubbed it thus far.
Yeah, when do we cut that one off? I think
Yeah,
we're
look,
probably past the finish line on that
They'll
one.
probably take us off for the next game, actually, just because we've said River Chicken too many times. I think that's it's an inevitability. We may as well get it out of our system now, I think.
Meanwhile, Froggy, oh man, we
Ooh,
can't.
crash down towards the bottom side of the map. Kaiwing looking to try and get out, but Shogun's going to chase after him. There's the grand exit to come on through. The Blade Call is fantastic from Unified, but unable to actually lock down the kill as Juhan is taking some Krugs for himself down here to try and secure any kills or anything. But Saigon Buffalo certainly able to put the pressure on here on the bottom side.
Yeah, and I think they'll get their reset off ahead of time too. They can push in one more wave. Hasmed, I love these deep wards though from top laners. Whenever you get your early chance to push in, these controls are so small on the U version. Can I get a circle? Oh, small circle?
You can do it. I believe in you.
There we go.
Oh!
Love it. What are these? Controls for ants?
Yeah.
That's the ward, though. I love that top lane ward. Whenever you get a chance to push in, you not only see Gromp plus blue, but so frequently will protect your life from the early jungle plays. So sweep comes out, though, from Juhan. Really nicely done from him. They know that there was a Vladimir roam timer, so...
Yeah, and still got all of the information that ward needed to do as well, and you can see that BeanJ is going to walk on over and return the favor. That is regular ward for control ward, so you'll take that.
Froggy getting in here.
Yeah, exactly.
That looked like a very angry Veigar waddling through
I know, with
the
that
jungle.
skin as well, though. Oh, it's just not necessarily as scary.
Yeah, I mean,
as others.
to me though, what's scary is when the magnet is attached to him. Uh-oh.
Yeah, the attractor repel. Man, that baby cage is effective. That's keeping everyone safe from the terrors of outside of the cage.
That was terrifying to me. Walking back to your lane through that small corridor when there are champions on the other side of skill shots.
All right, we got some ghosts going down here as Hanabi's getting his snips out. There's the pull, so Hasmed does have to get out of this fight. Ulti comes forward, but BeanJ's unable to do anything. Kaiwing picks up the kill, and PSG not going to lose anyone in this.
Yeah, they're getting rich. 2 kills now for themselves on the top side of the map. These roams from Kaiwing. Kaiwing perma up here on the top side of the map. Hanabi is able to get so much damage here. Hasmed thought that he was just baiting him. He's like, haha, I've got my jungler coming. I've got the Volibear trump card. And Hanabi knew that he actually had 2 trump cards. Much better than 1, having jungle and support roaming up.
Yeah.
Your boy Kaiwing, that you wanted to shout out, one of the long-standing members there on PSG, making his presence felt on the top side of the map. Another kill for PSG, and this one rewarded with a Rift Herald. Kaiwing is still up here, helping out, even feeding jungle, getting him the Scuttle Crab after the Rift Herald here. So much of an early advantage for PSG.
100% kill contribution here for Kaiwing on the Rakan. Feels like he's everywhere. And actually, I love it as well.
He's representing me and my statue up here.
Yeah, there you go. And he's making you feel so much better, even though he's within a lover's duo.
Yeah.
You're not, however, you're still being represented well. And also, you can leave Xayah on her own, right? So, very happy to do so. Unified now level 7. Will, of course, have the Featherstorm to keep himself safe if anything does go awry. And PSG rewarded with a slight gold advantage here to the tune of about 1,200.
Yeah, it's one of the things, too, when you pick your solo lanes, Vladimir and Veigar, like we said, you want to fight on bottom side of the map. You don't want to fight up near this top side where your solo laners are fairly ineffective in early skirmishes. I would go so far as to say very ineffective in early skirmishes. And so it's just intelligent from PSG to manipulate the map and say, yes, we know you want to fight around Rell Tristana. Guess what? We don't. So we're going to force this on you by forcing these jungle invades and forcing these topside skirmishes. So it's just really well adapted by PSG and good, especially used by Kaiwing in his roam timers there. Even though Juhan, and we called him out for using a flash on a Krug steal.
Hey, but he was rewarded afterwards because that was baiting BeanJ.
A lot of times, jungle is a mind game.
Yeah.
Jungle is completely mental.
It's pretty much poker, isn't it? In the end.
I mean,
That's what it comes down
for
to.
solo queue, it's actually 99% just a mental game.
True. Well, Bay able to land some more of these orbs of deception. Dark matter coming down here from Froggy. He's just going to get himself out of the way, though. PSG, many people here hanging around. This control
Nice
ward
stun.
in trouble. That is going to be the flash to get out of the way of the grand entrance. Good damage here from Saigon Buffalo, but it's a 1-for-1 thus far. The baby cage onto 3, gets a triple stun, but now BeanJ is by himself. The Blade Caller wasn't even necessary as Bay locks down yet another kill. And yes, Saigon Buffalo are on the board, but at what cost?
And PSG, they're scaling at MSI. They started out with a loss to Canids, and now they are winning their first Rumble match here pretty significantly over the Buffalo. Really well played from them. Again, this is now 2 kills to Ahri. You mentioned Bay being imperative in their wins. It's going to be a case where it's a fed Ahri, and that's extremely dangerous. So it's a good stun by Juhan to start it out. Even though he's the first one to die for his team, he set up the re-engage from Rakan, and then the rest of the squad, guess what? Veigar's used all his spells. So Veigar can't follow up on you, Bean, even though Bean goes back in with the ultimate. That is a desynced call from the team. Their communication, probably they don't have time to say, oh, we're backing out.
Yeah.
But Bean ults in. He could have ulted out, and it would have just been the one there, but it does mean another big win for PSG, and they get the Dragon as a reward as well.
Yeah, MasterCard Mythics making their way in as well. You got a Chem Tank here for BeanJ on his Volibear, as well as we got a Kraken Slayer for Shogun. He's starting to scale. Gale Force is done for Unified though. So PSG, can they get more? Can they keep pushing this advantage forward? Is going to be my question.
Yeah, and it should probably be a play around Ahri. We mentioned Bay with Flash and Ultimate coming up soon. It's going to have so much mobility for picks.
Well, now he's here on the bottom side, looking to see what he can do as Froggy's going to get charmed. Bay's going to land it. Baby Cage comes down. But Froggy not going to be able to find too many valuable stuns. Bay just keeping himself at arm's length, not getting overly aggressive or anything like that. Just spends his time in the cage and then walks it out.
Yeah, that was a close one, actually. I was really feeling for that corner turn from Veigar.
Right.
Could have been so scary. PSG, though, they still will get some rewards for their play. You know, they get Juhan out, so he does not go down, and they do get a fairly effective Rift-Tailed activation. Bottom side, you know, turret plates is expected value, but getting this tower so low does set themselves up for a first tower bonus in addition to this.
Well, there's the flash crash down. Does get the Feather Storm out immediately, but Taki, where's the follow-up? Blade Caller just tears him to shreds. It's a double kill now for Unified. BeanJ once again having to get out of here. And it is, yeah, he'll escape, but not able to save the rest of his team, and that is going to be the last couple of plates. 5 seconds to go, and they'll be able to knock down the first turret as well.
Absolute masterclass from the bottom lane of PSG here. I mean, in the early game, Kaiwing roaming up to the top side, forcing fight after fight. Big advantages there, but this time around, Unified perfectly times, ultimate, flash use as well. The Blade Caller coming through for the counter engage. After he ults and avoids that engage, you know, Buffalo are stuck there. Like, this is an all-in attempt for them with 3 members, and it sets you up for these big counter Blade Callers. That's why we mentioned in Champs League, Xayah is so good in counter engage opportunities. Base still has flash and ult, so I don't know what this is going to get.
Nothing. Also has Foxfire, which also allows
doesn't
you to
even
walk
get the
fast.
low cooldown ults.
Yeah.
Yeah, Foxfire.
They got a W.
They got the W, 40% move speed down for a few seconds.
Exactly. And not going to be moving too fast for the next few seconds, all right, Kirby?
Yeah. Back to the bottom lane, though, Unified deserves this, you know, spot at the top of the gold lead here. They were fed the Rift-Tailed activation, but what a great 3v2 counterplay on bottom side out of them. All you have to do, again, have your finger ready for ultimates. If you can react with your ultimate, beautiful job done there. And Rell tried to make it hard for him. You know, Taki does everything right. He goes into the brush, he goes for the flash play, but Unified's watching it. As soon as everyone's moving up, you preemptively put your hand above your R button, and then there's so many feathers on the ground, and Kaiwing's able to go lock them up that you guarantee hit your Blade Caller, blow them up with the massive Blade Caller.
And they knew exactly what was going on there. You saw Kaiwing didn't go with the preemptive quickness or anything like that.
Yeah.
He waited it out. He knew that Unified was going to get the feathers in the right position. They knew exactly who was coming, and they played it out absolutely beautifully. Kaiwing continuing, you know, his 100% kill contribution run so far this game. Rakan's been absolutely fantastic.
Honestly, this is probably PSG's best game of the whole tournament.
I agree.
Here in starting
You're right,
it in
they're
Rumble
leveling
stage.
up. They've done this before. I remember there was, what, Season 2 happened?
Yes.
And LMS pretty good in that one as well.
Yes, they are. MSI is really was the LMS's tournament, international tournament, and then now PCS also doing so well when they even had subs. You know, Doggo last time around for them when they still had Maple and River as well. See how far they can take it though.
Exactly. Taki now just trying to check out what's going on. Attract Repel now on Shogun. But PSG still lying in wait, looking for their opportunities, clearing out the minions in the mid lane. Of course, Bay no stranger to the K-Ram, and has done that in the past.
I will say, okay, so actually I don't have the ability to click myself on the Veigar, but I do want to check in how much AP Froggy has been able to stack up. Because the Veigar and Vladimir, even though this team is heavy AP, they have pretty good potential for team fights later on. And that might be one avenue for an out for Saigon Buffalo. If they can get some more power, though, this is a very early and big lead for PSG, so it's going to take a lot of work for Saigon Buffalo, but that might be a way that they can do it.
Yeah. I don't think this is similar to our last two games, though, which were clearly team fight versus early pressure and things like that. This is PSG with, I think, a little bit more of an important early advantage that they should be able to carry a little bit more effectively.
I got really good at using these circles, though.
Yeah, there's a lot of Mercury strats there. As Saigon Buffalo are able to lock down the Drake, their first of the game, but now can they win the fight? Bay gets a point-blank charm, and that is going to lock down the Bear. Shogun going to follow suit, and 3 kills immediately, and they celebrate with a Cloud Soul this game. PSG just getting win after win after win this game.
Yeah, they absolutely smash them, and they do it in matching sneakers, Atlas. How cool is that? They've got the style to back it up.
Unified is feeling like he's a little bit too cool for school, though, picking up the Zerka Greaves.
They've got style, they've got grace, and they deliver the ace. Well done, PSG.
Yes, they definitely did that. All right, Bay here towards the top side of the map, getting some split pushing done, and man, PSG just have so much control.
Was that a full ace? I didn't even count the kills.
It doesn't matter. The rhyme was worth it.
Tower down on top side as well. Oh, PSG.
It wasn't an ace, by the way, because Froggy's not died.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah. I knew it. It's fine. The rhyming is what takes precedence.
Yeah, exactly.
And they also,
let's check out this ace in the replay,
yeah.
okay?
Thank you. That's how I know you've always got my back. So Dragon was acquired, though, for Saigon Buffalo, so at least they got the objective before most of them died. And you can always point to that. You go, hey, look at objective focus, at least.
Yep, there you go.
But you can tell. Big win there again for PSG because they're so far ahead in snowballing and all the outer towers are down. This makes it pretty easy for them to set up the 1-3-1 for themselves. They can easily split wish. Hanabi is, even though he's only one item on Gwen right now, feels extremely confident. This is why, ooh, okay, maybe in a 2v1.
We'll see whether Hanabi can survive this one. There's the flash in for the stun. They're not wasting any time. Hanabi's trying to keep himself alive. The needlework was actually working quite effectively, but Ignite, pretty good counter to that. And Saigon Buffalo, they managed to take him down.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, he's feeling very confident. That's what Saigon want to prey on. This confident Gwen is going to be pushing out. Send 3 members even with a teleport for good measure. Don't think they needed the teleport and the extra member coming through, but they're able to do it.
Well, that's the flash forward. Kaiwing just says good night to Shogun. Oh man, Feathers came out and Tristana evaporated.
Okay, objective bounty picked up on the bottom side for Saigon Buffalo after their pick, but they pay a big cost. That was cute.
That was crazy.
Very cute because you can just R any time and interrupt their jump, but this is going to be multiple objectives for PSG. Even though it is still worth for Saigon because they have a hard time getting gold in this game. So again, like we were focusing on in the EG game, the objective bounties are quite big for Saigon. So to be able to get that bottom turret after the pick as well, even though they give up 2 turrets and a kill here by PSG pushing, they need to get gold somehow and try and extend on the map to get those bounties.
Problem is that PSG have just been getting consistently further and further ahead this game. They haven't taken their foot off the pedal. And so far, about 8,000 gold is the lead. A little bit under that, I guess. But PSG just continuing to go from strength to strength. It is the forbidden book picked up here by Hanabi. He said that Ignite wasn't enough. He needs to really, really disable the healing for this Vladimir. And with Vladimir, Volibear, you're probably pretty happy to do so, as this is an optimistic Baron from Saigon Buffalo.
I like watching the pings in these types of games too, because there were like 5 red or blue pings that go down here from PSG. They're like, what are they doing? They're trying to like rush a Baron? They're crazy.
Well, Kaiwing, pretty crazy himself, just walking up to them, gets the flash out of Froggy, is immediately the teleport. He's going to come forward. Bay looking for his opportunity. They managed to get the charm down. The event horizon's fantastic, though, in this choke point, but not fantastic enough as Juhan's turned into a bear. He does get knocked back by the Buster Shot. That was very powerful as Juhan's trying to close the gap, but just can't. He's getting pushed away one after the other. Hasmed now turns into a pull. Another event horizon comes down as the re-engage from Taki. They are continuing to fight it, but it is just not enough. The wallets are so heavy, and it's a triple in the end for Unified. Just has to use his cleanse, and they'll go to the Baron now.
Yeah, they had me there for a second. You know, maybe I thought there would be a turn off that Veigar cage. But as you said, the wallets are too big. They don't have any backup on top of that. So they got one kill out of it, and PSG just run them down. And that's going to be the Baron for PSG. Guess what? With a Baron Empowered Recall, you can reset before the Dragon. 30 seconds left on the Dragon. With Baron Empowered Recall, you just get back, spend all your money, and get back out for that
And
Dragon.
utilizing the Cloud Rift as well, you can walk a little bit faster towards the Dragon as well. Let's have a look at this fight one more time.
All right, let's have it, because the teleport comes in. That's why all the question mark pings were going down from PSG ahead of this. Like, what are they doing? They're grouping up on Baron for us? Beautiful. Let's chase them down here. So even though they have to go through multiple Veigar cages, and it makes it really, really short work going through these corridors, having to work through and get stunned multiple times. It's only one kill that gets picked off of the fall from the Dark Matter there. And then they just power through multiple dashes, continue on with the onslaught. When we come back to live, that Dragon's already been picked up, and they can just continue with the Baron buff to push on bottom side.
Exactly right, and maybe if they had have used their Scare Prize emote, they could have been able to turn that fight. As of course, don't forget to grab your exclusive Scare Prize Prime Gaming emote so you can strut when you flash in and turn a fight. Right now, it's looking very difficult for Saigon Buffalo to try and turn them, but we know that they do like to fight. If they can actually find one, it is going to be a miracle. I don't think I'll shave my head. I'm not going to make the bet. I've been burnt for that one in the past.
One of my favorite moments.
Oh, Event Horizon coming down. Immediately they do get rid of Bay, but the answer is there straight away. Taki's going to go down as well. Support for mid laner. You'll take that as Saigon Buffalo every day of the week. As Hanabi here in this mid lane, he is unable to be damaged as Hasmed moves towards him, but now that circle has been disengaged.
Yeah, with the power of Baron buff for another minute 20 seconds, they could keep up the siege and try and, you know, Baron empower the super cannon minions and get a little bit of chip damage, but without their Ahri, without your mid laner, you are setting yourself up for a possible disaster. And when you're this far ahead, you don't even want to give a possibility of you know, losing something like that, a 4-on-4 there, to an SGB that does have some good scaling options. You know, as we mentioned, you know, possible
Vladimir,
infinite. Yeah, Vladimir and Veigar options. If you gave up a team fight there, then maybe they rush down and they get another objective bounty too. So good from PSG to call it off, even though they had a bit more time to work with on this Baron.
Yep, certainly not going to be losing too much here. 10,000 gold is the lead at 24 minutes. PSG all but have this one in the bag, but we do need to see them actually close it out. Drake's certainly been delayed, as Saigon Buffalo were able to grab the Hextech Drake, and that might actually be relevant, as the Cloud Soul's not going to be for at least another 13 or so minutes.
Yeah, they don't have like crazy range on the side of PSG, so Buffalo can actually defend decently well. And as you say, because they're not going to get pulled out onto the map anytime soon.
By the way, it's 8 minutes, not 13 minutes. Don't do math on broadcast, guys. It's just not.
I was going to let you go past just without bringing it up.
No. I needed to pay the price.
But I like that you have been you know, willing to pay penance here for everything on broadcast. Meanwhile, we are going to have the return to the siege. Now that Bay is back here for PSG, they want to push it in. They do have all summoner spells available and ults ready here, so pressure in the Buffalo. Make sure you can increase your gold lead again. This is one thing with sieges. It's much like sieges in the ancient era. You can basically starve your opponents by taking away more resources. You take away all their camps outside. You siege up around the castle, so they have no access to their farms. Yeah. So they can't, you know, get any chicken or wheat.
Or tuna.
And they eventually starve inside there. You increase your gold lead, and you keep up your siege long enough, you
I
will
feel like we've
win the
learned a
war.
lot throughout our 3 games.
We've done
thus far.
economic sessions.
Yeah,
we do
economics,
some-
and now we've got like medieval battle plans and stuff like that. Now, when you're watching some of those more older movies, you can understand all of those tactics.
You know
when
what's
it comes to the
really big
sieges.
right now? There's like 7 different Viking shows.
I know. I've watched most of them. I'm
They're
one of the
really good,
guys that
actually, yeah.
enjoys it. I don't know. Couldn't get enough.
Uhtred is my favorite. Uhtred
Yeah.
Ragnaros.
Ragnaros?
I combine it with a WoW term. That's why I made... because I got to get some gamer reference in there, right?
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. I like
That's
it.
always what I think of. When
I'm just
they're like,
imagining Ragnaros as a Viking, and that just doesn't sound very fair.
Ooh, we gotta
imagine if he lands in York, and
Yeah.
it's just
fire
the
everywhere.
eternal flame.
Yeah. Honestly, we got to work a deal out with Blizzard. Get like an Olaf Ragnaros skin. or
Yeah, we
something.
do definitely need that.
That's sick.
We'll figure it out. I'm sure there's a way. As again, Event Horizon's coming on down. Saigon Buffalo, like you were saying, I mean, they're starting to starve within their castle walls.
They're getting let out though. Look at this. They're making a peek. They're running out to the farms.
Yeah,
getting
that's true.
Getting a little bit of food before they run back.
See
Eating up
whether
some
they can
gold.
get some oil so that they can put it on the battlements so
Yeah.
that when the battering ram comes down.
When do PSG start constructing their trebuchets?
Yeah,
for the long
I mean, that's
range?
what they need. They're
Uh-oh.
definitely going to need them. Although
There's-
it's really Shogun that's actually the trebuchet, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
he's starting to draw a bead over the course of this game.
Yeah, range increasing here with Tristana for every level, continuing to eat up Shogun here. Once he gets Infinity Edge done, honestly, with the extra money that Unified had to spend on a QSS,
I mean, he
Shogun
had it
gets
to
an-
spare. He's like an 8-0.
I'm trying to. I was trying to like open up something where we're like, oh yeah, he's so rich, but he had to,
I needed to try
buy
and reel
these-
you back in for a second.
These effective luxury items
Yep,
that are
yep.
very good against Veigar. No. It's going to be Dragon number 3 picked up, and we got 5 more minutes for the siege
Yep.
to take effect.
Thank you very much for actually doling out how long it's going to take before the Cloud Soul is available.
We've got 4 minutes and 45 seconds left. There
Nailed
you
it.
go.
Thankfully, everyone can see that there is a timer there, so you can do the math if we fail.
We've got 4 minutes.
11,000 gold here is the lead for PSG, but now they're looking for this Baron, and flips can decide games for the team that is behind.
I actually
10,000 gold
love-
is a very large margin, though, Kobe.
I love burger flips.
Oh,
honestly.
me too.
Delicious as well as exciting.
Yep.
Because especially more so with objective bounties, when it's just so much gold, it's just the explosion. You get the audio as well as the team fight going
I
explosively.
love it when teams decide that they just want to be a flip team, so they give all of the Drakes to their opponent so that they can just come in and flip for an Elder as fast as possible.
Baby. Here we go. Burn that sucker down. Flip it. Turn the grill on, baby.
All right, Bean, get ready. This one's on you. This is your time to shine. Is PSG going to pull away from the Baron?
You
What is
bet.
this?
No,
we
you-
were promised a flip.
A flip is a very bad idea. So again, it's
Once again, catching everyone up on the sarcasm. Thank you very much,
exactly.
Kobe.
We have to re-illustrate. You know, it's not a good idea, but it would have been more exciting.
It would have definitely.
Especially because it's literally Volibear who can go unstoppable and guarantee getting inside the pit. So usually you're like, oh well, they can keep him out as long as the support goes and blocks the enemy jungler. It'll be fine. It's not fine against Volibear.
And you can also bust a shot to try and get their jungler out of the area as Kaiwing's just going to explode.
Oh
That
my.
is the explosive damage potential that is there, but Blakecaller is still doing a heck of a lot of work. But Unified is going to
They're
go
doing it.
down. Saigon Buffalo are winning the
They're doing
fight.
it.
Shogun, can you eat the honey fruit in time? He does. Bay is trying to slink out of there. Juhan not going to be as lucky as Hanabi is put inside the cage. Hasmed, he wants it. He wants to be able to grab this kill as they do have vision. He goes the wrong direction for now, though. And yes, I mean, there is Cloud Rift, but he's not able to run fast enough.
Oh my! The siege tactics ineffective against the Saigon Buffalo.
They went out of their base. Remember,
Oh,
they got
yeah,
the oil and it worked.
They made the runs for resources.
Yeah.
Got enough for their carries. Froggy and Shogun were so huge in that. And he got his Infinity Edge. Alice, we're just waiting for the power spikes. Money doesn't matter.
And he's even just got brown bags, man. He was focused only on that
Exactly.
3-item power spike.
It's what you buy with the money that counts.
Exactly. It's
And-
not the money. The money doesn't win it for you. It's the stuff you buy with the money.
And my goodness, off of that team fight, they're right back into it. They still have objective bounties, so they would love to cash in on one of those first. But again, Veigar, thank you. Observers are on him right now. 348 off of the passive with the extra gold. And he was able to live through that entire team fight. Does have the Zhonyas, which can be definitely debated as far as the effectiveness for defensive items for Veigar.
Yeah.
I'm actually a huge fan.
Dead man's played.
No. Well, actually, it doesn't matter this game. But the extra spot for control wards might be critically important, and we'll see what they can get off with that. But let's take a look at the replay first. He traps Kaiwing, and look at that. They just blow him up inside the cage, even though it doesn't get stunned up. They take out the Rakan, so there's no engage, and then they all evaded big damage from the Kaisa. So he immediately two-shot, basically, the Lovers duo, Rakan down, Xayah down. They split the team fight, and then the stopwatches came in big for Juhan as well as Froggy on the bottom side. So they didn't lose anyone, and they take down the critical bottom lane there from PSG. So incredibly effective.
No, only a 9,000 gold lead. The comeback has started. Yes, it has only shrunk about 2,000 gold. PSG are still in a very dominant position, however, not quite as much. We do have a Hex Drinker now built for Unified, so he is hopping on the Magic Resist hype train. See whether that's going to be enough. As of course, Shogun's going to do a lot of damage as the game goes on, but PSG, they've started off the Baron.
All right, let's... Again, BeanJ can always threaten. He's got his Volibear ultimate ready. As we set up for it, though, we see the split push for PSG. Gwen pushing on bottom side. The correct choice, pull off the Baron, draw Buffalo to you, then back off so they can't get the engage with the Veigar cage and allow Gwen to split push. Buying themselves time is just what they want.
Yep, and no teleport from Hasmed as well, so he's going to have to walk his way over there and will then not be able to get back towards this Baron in time. It is going to be the inhibitor turret under a lot of fire, but Shogun over here, he's going to be able to tidy that one up, get a little bit more gold back.
This gets much better for PSG, though, because they don't have to risk much on a dragon, right? The soul is a lot of power for very little risk, because the dragon isn't going to do that much damage. So now dragon has arrived on the rift, and this is going to be the actual team fight taking place. Buffalo will not be giving this one up. They will force on this to not give you soul.
Well, Faye looking to fish for some of these charms, does find it, but almost takes his whole health bar and damage for it. Primordial Blast not even used. Froggy's still holding onto that one. Bay is one-shottable, that ability right now. Now looking to go back home, and PSG, they'll lose one singular Cloud Drake, and they will probably not care at all about that outcome.
Well, I would definitely care if I was there, because that's another objective shutdown.
I guess that is more bounty gold.
And more gold into this PSG team that has really great scaling. Tristana, increasing range still with every level. Veigar already, as you said, melting anyone who gets caught even without the ult. But here's the 5-on-5 over the wall. Can he get it?
Yeah, Hanabi looking for his way in. The Event Horizon's too good though, and Bay just explodes. BeanJ taking a lot of damage. Unified does so much work there, but he only takes down the support. Now Hasmed does go into his pool. Hanabi goes golden, but that's the shutdown. And now the ult comes forward. BeanJ looking to lock down Unified. Can they find the ace? Can they turn this game? It would be absolutely absurd, and yes, they do. PSG are on the ground, and now it's Saigon Buffalo with their chance at the Baron and a push.
Oh, they're going to get that Baron. They're going to eat good tonight. Oh my goodness, objective bounty shutdown on top of a full ace for the Saigon Buffalo. This is why I said I was going to be worried, Alice.
I'm glad that I'm not shaking my head again.
More and more money into these scaling carries for Buffalo. And the stuns from Froggy, these cages on Veigar, as soon as Ahri tries to go in, this is why it is such a good pick into it. He flashes the charm as he lands the cage. Just beautiful, massive mid-diff outplay here from Froggy, flashing the engage from Ahri, destroying her with the cage, blowing her up, and the rest of the team annihilates them. Shogun on the backs here, jumps in at the very end and gets annihilated from Kaiwing, but it doesn't matter because they're able to clean it up. Their two solo lanes are massive late game carries with the Vladimir Veigar, and they continue scaling up now with the Baron. The last of the objective bounty shutdowns have been seen. Those are off of the table here. And it's now just a massive range difference. The late game is such easier played when you have all these things with extra range. The Tristana plus the Veigar cage is super long. Vladimir can just dive into any team late game because he's got the pool plus a stopwatch picked up. So huge possibilities.
Fighting against Froggy here, who does, he's unable to be damaged. That's what we like to say.
The other defensive option, though, that I really love on Veigar the Anathema's chains, which makes you more tanky.
Yeah.
Plus, it makes your stuns last longer. I was gonna say, oh, I love that one because you can blow up any carry. They'll get stun locked forever. But that was an instant blow up on Bay. They don't need more time on crowd control. They're instantly blowing up anyway. So he's actually just going for more damage. Another needlessly large rod there.
I mean, that's multiplicative scaling, you know, with the extra AP you get from the cool hat that he's potentially building up for himself.
Usually,
I love that.
Yeah, usually you get earlier death caps on Veigar for the big multipliers, but I mean, this is just gonna be full AP. So
yeah, that's gonna be big boom boom damage, as my friend Valdez does like to say.
Big boom boom. I'm ready for it.
And Saigon Buffalo now, it feels like they're in the lead. They're still behind in gold, but gold just straight up does not matter at this stage. They are going to look to take this inner turret on the top side of the map, and Shogun now level 17, only one more level for that maximum range on the Tristana. And it's feeling like PSG have just not been able to do enough. And now they're on the back foot, and Saigon Buffalo have just, I don't know, have they done it?
Yes, they have. This is a critical game for both teams, for their implications moving forward in this tournament, because so much of the positives that people were able to give credit to Buffalo thus far have all been circulated around the early game.
Yeah.
And this is an instance of you're not pushing hard enough versus some scaling here where they actually have a lot of good scaling for their carries, and you're punished for it. So PSG versus Buffalo was going to be the one big contention point. It's them plus EG fighting for basically the 4th spot, moving on to the playoffs, to the best of series. And if Buffalo have shown here that they can win and kind of stomp on PSG, even with massively losing the early game, then that is very bad for PSG as far
tenacity.
as the Rumble
I mean,
stage.
our last world champions, EDG, that was how they won the world final, right? Is that they went to as many games as possible and just managed to do it. But that is going to be a face check. That's a caster curse. I apologize to our Vietnamese fans.
I'll expect a written
yeah, it'll be a written response to my
soon.
mother. I will write home to my mother about this. Say sorry to everyone, and she can forward it.
All right, what can they do, though? This is really big for PSG because they were on the brink of losing their massive advantage, but now there's no Rell for the engage, and so they push right up mid. They will get the inhibitor tower. This game is so spicy, Atlas.
It's just going back and forth, as Froggy is going to get himself out of the way of Bay. He goes gold, is not exactly the best move, as almost Bay just explodes from 1 Q from Froggy.
Yeah, ultimate not used. He would have loved to get that sucker off. With that, gonna lick his wounds on the escape. Hanabi, can he get chased down? I hear a ghost pop.
Yeah.
That's Vladimir.
Yeah, he is chasing after him. Not gonna be able to quite find it with the tides of blood, but he can just use that over and over again. Hanabi, yeah, not as immune as he wants to be, but it is going to be the Cloud Soul. Can Hanabi find one back? The answer's no. Saigon Buffalo towards this top side, looking to continue pushing. Open inhibitor in the mid lane, though, and you can see that PSG are making a beeline.
Honestly, good call, though, for Hanabi to dangle out this distraction top side of the map to distract away from the fact that your Cloud Soul is spawning, and so PSG are able to get it. So the domino effect, let's go over how much they got out of just picking off the support. They got to run straight up mid lane, 2 towers, exposing the inhibitor and capitalize on their soul, which was dangling in front of them, which they probably would have not have been able to get otherwise because of the massive mounting power of the team fight from the Buffalo.
Just taking matters into his own hands again. They're going to take down Taki. It's like a Buffalo like, what? Wait, where did that Rell go? What happened? They are able to take the inhibitor turret on the top side of the map, but now the Phalanx needs to be reformed. BeanJ is just not tanky enough against Unified right now. As you can see, just taking so much damage. Bay now trying to get his way out of there. His Primordial Blast was actually used this time, but now the re-engage. Kaiwing finds his mark. It's a fantastic Orb of Deception. Froggy goes golden, but he is still going to be taken down. The Blade Caller is in. Vladimir is trying to do late game things as the Hemomancer, but it's not going to be enough, and it's Gwen that locks down the kill. PSG would not go quietly into the night of this game, as Shogun is going to get exhausted, and it must be exhausting in this particular game. He will go into his GA, gets one back, but that is going to be answered, and now PSG will push forward for the win.
Wow, PSG pull it back after a big throw from themselves. Now it's Taki trying to do it all himself. It's Taki versus everyone to keep the game alive.
Well, we'll see whether he can do it, but has hazard a guess that it's not going to be enough. The first Nexus turret's going to go down. Taki breaks another stopwatch, and that is yet another aces. PSG, it looked dicey there in the later stages of the game, but they were able to come out on top in the end.
Well, well, well. Dominant early from PSG.
Yeah.
But Saigon Buffalo wait out the siege. They get to their 3-item power spike for Tristana, just barely getting their Infinity Edge in time. They win a couple team fights, grabbing Baron, grabbing shutdowns, giving hope, and yet still pulled back by PSG. They get multiple picks onto Taki. They take down the Rell multiple times, back-to-back fights, and they open up the team fights that way. In the end, big stuff from Kaiwing and Unified. They were the big carries early. They also were the big carries late. Still critical to the game plan.
Yeah, just so good. I want to shout out Kaiwing yet again. The early game was exemplary from the very long-standing support for this team. PSG playing around their veterans, but then also Hanabi had a great game towards that top side. He was able to put pressure on when he needed to in those side lanes. Kept their heads together. That was the main point, because there are a lot of teams that could just crumble in those moments of late game where, you know, the Veigar, the infinite scaling question, the Vladimir, the Tristana, things like this. It can get real scary, but they held themselves together, got those picks, and got the game done.
Yeah, it really gets frustrating when you get outranged by, you know, Veigar Cage, and Tristana has scaled up to, you know, level 18 maximum range, but they found really good moments to go in and burst down some of these frontliners. We saw how much damage Xayah was doing at the end there with multiple crits and just blowing up frontline members. Yep,
it was absolutely terrifying. A fantastic game for PSG with a slight hiccup towards the late game, but I'm sure they can tidy that one up. But coming up next after the break is G2 versus RNG, a battle of the remaining undefeated teams at MSI 2022. Which team can continue their streak? Stay tuned.